Welcome into Northside Territory, Foul Territory Network's Cubs podcast. I'm your host, Pat. I'm Sahadev Sharma with my co-host Patrick Mooney. I'm a little
Yeah, nervous. Big guest today.
a big guest. Apparently, I can't talk. Uh, we got Just Steele, the
I'm
lefty with
also
the
Patrick
Cubs.
Mooney.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for
Yeah,
having
of
me.
course. Thanks for joining us, Steely. We were just talking. We were a bit jealous of that sun in the background, but we'll survive. We're gonna get to baseball talk, okay? But we know you. We know you love football. So I have two questions to start. You're a Saints fan, right? Big
Yeah,
Saints fan.
diehard Saints fan. I got a few teams that I'm rooting for in the playoffs right now. I'm rooting for the Commanders.
Okay.
I had Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin in all my fantasy leagues. So I was high on them going into the year. I had some future bets with them as well, so I'm holding on to it. I'm excited about the Commanders right now.
Who do you want to be the head coach of the Saints?
Who do I? Ooh, that's a really good question. You know who's been really entertaining to watch lately is John Gruden with all the new stuff he's doing with Barstool and like
Oh
the,
yeah.
the, the videos and the clips he's been posting. They're hilarious. It's just like I can't stop listening to the guy talk about football, and I feel like everyone feels the same way about it. So I've been hearing he's been getting some interesting coaching. I mean, obviously Ben Johnson is the guy that everybody wants. I know I've been seeing his name attached to the Bears a lot. I'm trying to think of some other names that are going to be, vacant for head coaching jobs. I'll tell you what would be really cool, which I think he has another year of college football. Arch Manning. If Arch Manning ended up going to the Saints, like that,
Oh yeah.
that would be really cool. I think.
I like that idea. They got a
I
tank.
mean,
They
we
got
have a lot of
to be
other
bad.
stuff
One
we
more
need to
one
do.
more year of
There's
bad.
a lot of other things that need to happen for the Saints to be a good football team. But that would be really cool if that did happen.
That'd be an awesome story. I didn't even think about that, and now
Yeah.
I kind of like that. They should just make that happen, and whatever they can do to
I mean,
finagle things.
Well, it reminds me, Justin, we talked about this during the year about like how we both enjoy those shows like Hard Knocks and stuff like that behind the
yeah.
scenes. I was curious, as someone who's not in the room with Jen Carter, what are your thoughts on the offseason thus far for your Cubbies?
Well, I mean, I always think about it in the sense of like it's definitely something that I would I would have a lot of pressure and anxiety doing the thing like that kind of work, those kind of jobs, and making those kind of decisions and stuff. But I mean, anytime you add a bat like Kyle Tucker to the team in the lineup, even the way he plays defense is incredible. Like I played a ton against him in high A when he was I forget what city they were in. I was in Myrtle Beach. I can't remember the city that the Astros were playing in at the time. But I remember watching him play there, and like I knew then, like the guy was going to be a stud. I believe he's a little younger than me, so he was obviously a little younger than me at the time as well. And I just remember thinking, like, this guy's going to be a stud. He's still young, great left-handed swing, plays defense really hard, and then he gets to the big leagues. I think he ends up getting called up like 2 years later from that point. And I mean, just the immediate impact he was making to the big league team, and he's only gotten better and better every single year. He's fun to watch, fun player to watch, and I'm excited to get around him.
What? Yeah, you've been in Arizona. What have you like? What has been your focus this off season, and beyond you? Like, what have you seen out there? Who's impressed you as far as the people that are out there? Because I know it gets kind of crowded at times, especially like right around now. I feel like.
Yep, there's some people slowly starting to get in. The guys, just some guys that have been out here for most of the off season. JMO's been out here a good bit. Ben Brown's been out here pretty much the entire time. Stuff with his neck, I would say, he's completely alleviated. He's throwing, feeling good. The dude's a horse. He's the way he works out in the weight room and just the intensity of like his catch play and his bullpen work. It's impressive. PCA's been out here. It's fun watching him work out and how athletic he is. Just Porter Hodge. Porter Hodge is another name that's out here, and I mean, I'm like the tiniest guy besides PCA, but like it's just like you see Porter Hodge, you see Ben Brown, you see JMO, and they're just like lifting the entire weight room. Just like it's makes me feel really small. Like when I go home to Mississippi, I always feel like I'm decently sized. I'm a little bigger than most. And then I come out here to spring training, I'm around the guys. It's like I'm tiny compared to these guys.
Humbling.
Well, I mean, not to steal Sahadev's question, but I think he had heard that like Ben Brown and Porter Hodge had kind of stood out in Mesa. Can you explain what you're seeing, beyond just physically with those guys? Like, you feel like they're on a good sort of trajectory here as you guys build this.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing was with Ben last year was the throwing, and he just kept feeling I forget exactly what it was in his neck, but the fact that he's not feeling that anymore, and he's moving around freely, he's in the weight room doing the stuff that he would normally do in the training room, and just honestly, like having the conversations with him and stuff, like when all that stuff was going on with his neck, like when something like that's going on and the player doesn't really know exactly what it is, like it can affect you, mentally. It makes you like not want to do stuff because you don't want to make it worse. So just to see him, being that like spring chicken that he is, and like doing the lifts, throwing with full effort and all that stuff, having that personality that he always had, it's just fun being around him, and you just watching him throw his bullpens, go through his work. The guy's going to be a stud if he gets a full season under his belt. And same thing with Porter Hodge. I mean, he was so good last year, and for him to come right into Arizona and get right to work immediately, and he's working his tail off every single day. So it's been really cool. It's fun to like watch, everybody come in slowly and like start getting their stuff. And I've been in AZ for 2 or 3 years now, but it's just kind of cool to watch everyone's progression.
As you talked a little bit about Kyle Tucker and what you saw of him when you were in the minors and all that, but as a pitcher, when a team has a player like that, this kind of game-changing bat in the lineup, you have really good offensive players, but I think Kyle Tucker is just like the superstar level. How does it change the way you approach a game? How does it change the way you have to game plan for that team when just there's that one guy that kind of elevates the rest of the team?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say that we wouldn't be scoring more runs with him in the lineup. So if I would say, like, if we're in the beginning stages of a baseball game, 1 through the first 3 innings, and say we already have 1 to 5 runs on the board, just as a pitcher, like, you just can go out there and just throw strikes. And if things start to get hairy, yeah, you start to, bite the bullet a little bit, make some pitches. But like when you're pitching with the lead, it is you're pitching a completely different game than what you would if it was 0-0. You're trying to, maintain the lead and everything. So, or keep it tied or whatever the case may be. So just being able to pitch with a lead, that's my initial thought, is like, that's very comforting. And then you look at how good he plays defense. You hear about like how good of a teammate he is from other guys, just the camaraderie it's going to bring to the clubhouse. I'm really excited about it.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. I looked it up on Baseball Reference. I got Kyle Tucker at Bowie's Creek in 2017.
Yeah, that's
it. Okay. That was your snapshot of him.
So they were playing. I think they were in the process of building a stadium for their high A team. I don't know if it's in Bowie's Creek anymore.
Okay.
But they were playing at Campbell College as their like main field, and they were the Fighting Camels, which I thought was hilarious. Like we would go there. Like the locker rooms were pretty small. I mean, it was a like smaller college locker room and stuff, away side. So. Every time we went, the locker rooms were small, but it was always interesting because we were playing like on a turf college field, and they were just like fighting camels everywhere. So it was really cool.
Figuring out dinner every night with variety is not easy when you're running around. Let America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh, help you out.
HelloFresh has over 50 recipes to choose from each week. They pre-portion the ingredients and then ship them right to your doorstep.
If you're looking to fit a specific lifestyle, HelloFresh features preferences like fit and wholesome, quick and easy, or a vegetarian option for you too.
HelloFresh helps you eat healthier and stress less about how you're getting the ingredients and ideas for that perfect home-cooked meal.
In many parts of the country, it's cold out. So skip the hassle and snuggle up next to your phone or your computer and pick out your favorite recipes. Then let HelloFresh handle the planning, the shopping, and most of the prep. Get up to 10 free meals and a free high protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/FT10. FM. One item per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM.
Justin, you got your deal done before having to go through the whole whatever that process is like. Kyle Tucker obviously hasn't agreed yet. Can you kind of explain what that process is like and how if it's been stressful in the past or however you kind of handle and work through that?
So I can't speak for every organization, but I know the Cubs. So the deadline was this past Thursday, I believe. Wednesday was when they made their first call or conversation in regards to it. So to me, that's a little stressful. I'm the entire offseason, I'm waiting for this. You have this date. It's is there going to be any talks leading up to it? It's no, we're going to do it the night before. We'll give you a call to kind of give you where our head's at. And then the next day it picks up quite a bit. My agent, Sam Samarja, he's on the phone with him a good bit. He's calling me. He's they're going back and forth. The calls kind of stay between them. And then Sam will come to me if the number moves or vice versa. So it's a good process. It hasn't been too strenuous for me or anything. I would say the only bad thing is just the time leading up to that date. You're thinking, it's hard not to think about it. So it's and then literally the night before is when things finally start picking up. But it was a good process for me the past 2 years I've done it.
And for anyone who's not watching or just listening, when you said it was stressful, Justin, you had a big smile on your face. I was curious, did this process give you a better sense of whether or not a long-term agreement makes sense for both sides, or was that sort of maybe tabled to later? What was your takeaway from this round of arbitration?
Yeah, there wasn't any type of discussions or conversations like that. I didn't even speak to Jed or Carter. It was mostly I would say the Cubs negotiation team. I want to say the guy's name's Gary. I don't know him. If I saw him, I would recognize him, but that was who my agent was referring to as Gary. So it seems like they have a negotiation team they have for arbitration that they use and go that route. But ever since we agreed on the arbitration number, there hasn't been any further conversations. I mean, I imagine if that conversation is going to be had, it'll be during spring training once they're around and stuff.
Okay. You're represented by the same group that's representing Roki Sasaki. Obviously, he's a big name out there.
Yeah, we've been hanging out a lot, actually. We went and had Nobu the other day. I'm just kidding.
That would be breaking news.
You would have broken the internet if you just tweeted something like that.
I'm more curious about
obviously we had a translator.
So Shota assimilated so well to the team. It was pretty amazing how quickly that happened. What can you kind of say about what you've heard about Sasaki's talent, and then also what the Cubs do to kind of make a player coming from a completely different culture and country feel so at ease, like Shota did?
So it seems like players that are newly coming over have a ton of respect for players that have previously came over. So someone's name I keep seeing is Yu Darvish, and he's a lot of the guys that are coming over have a ton of respect and like to listen to what he says. And he always, always just see clips of him mentioning or, quotes that he's mentioning how great Chicago is, how good they are, and just, different things that he says. And it kind of relates to the Japanese players that are coming over. So guys like Sahadev, Shota, it kind of makes them feel at ease, whether they're going into the meeting with the Cubs, coming to Chicago to visit. But I mean, it's kind of hard not to argue with what you saw from Shota this past year. You can't really say he was uncomfortable out there. I mean, I would say he's the most comfortable pitcher, in the MLB out there. He's, being himself, his personality's, shining, and it's fun to watch. It was watching Shota this past season was really special. And, that there's more in there. I mean, he pretty much did it with only 2 pitches, I would say. He threw dominantly 2 pitches, and he has the whole arsenal. So I'm just really excited to get back and watch Shota. But we're talking about Sasaki here, but I've watched, him pitch on TV, on YouTube, and he's obviously very young, but what he's doing at the ages that he is, it's really impressive, and you can only see it getting much better from where he is. So it's obviously exciting, and whoever gets him is going to be very pleased with it.
So you were like curious enough to like look him up and on YouTube
Yeah.
or whatever, just to see.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
I remember watching him pitch. It was a World Baseball Classic, right?
Yeah.
I remember watching him pitch there. I remember watching Shota pitch there as well. I remember watching Shota pitch like on YouTube or something else. It might have been Twitter or something, like someone posted a video of him pitch. I remember watching him pitch again, like on my phone. I was like, dude, this guy's legit. And then we got him.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Shota had that outing against Team USA, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah. So you said like he's young. There's more developing that's going to happen with whatever team he goes to. Can you kind of talk about your experience with the pitching infrastructure? Like it's still evolving. I feel like they've added. I'm not sure if you've worked with Tyler Zombro yet. Like Casey Jacobson was in the minors and now is assistant pitching coach. Maybe go through your experience. What stood out to you as you were being developed, and what's going on now that stands out to you?
So Casey Jacobson, I've worked with him quite a bit. He's in Arizona right now. He's with us in our bullpen, doing our bullpen work, our catch play. So he's here every single day. He's awesome. I've known him for quite a few years now. He's been amazing every step of the way. I believe last year when I was rehabbing my hamstring, he was down here as well. So I was working with him. So I'm pretty sure everyone that's been around the Cubs is familiar with him. So that'll be an easy installation. I haven't worked with was it Tyler Zombro?
Yep.
I believe I've read or heard that he's from the Driveline, or he's from some
Tread.
different type of. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
So we've exchanged numbers, exchanged text messages and stuff, but I'm really excited to work with him. Just kind of the stuff that, that stratosphere, like Tread, all the guys that come from there, they have a really different like avenue of thinking when it comes to pitching. So it'll be interesting to throw my bullpens and, kind of pick his brain, him pick mine, and kind of just figure each other out, see how each other work, what makes each other click. It's always fun. I'm really excited about it.
Justin, you've been on this steady ascent for a long time now. I think you answered a lot of questions last year by, repeating your performance and continuing to perform at a high level. What are your goals for 2025 when you look forward?
First goal is to remain healthy the entire season, get the allotted 30 to 32 starts in, 180 innings. That's, been my goal past 3 seasons, I would say. I feel really good about where my changeup is right now. I really want to implement that more to the right-handed hitters, get that going. I felt really good with my sinker last year with to the lefties, so I want to continue that trend. Just I felt really good with, like, when I'd face lefties, I would say the year before I didn't throw the sinker two-seam as much to the lefties, so they were able to lean over the plate. The fours going to the other side, the sliders going to the other side. Even if I throw a curveball, it's still breaking to the other side of the plate, so they're able to lean over the plate, kind of take away that inner part. And me, implementing that sinker to the lefties more this past season, I mean, you just could see some at-bats where they just did not know, like they thought it was a fastball still, but it ended up coming the other way. And you just saw some reactions where it was like they had no idea what was coming right there. And that just completely swings the odds in your favor as far as an at-bat goes. So that was a big jump for me. And I just kind of want to, for the same thing for the righties, just implement the changeup and get that working towards the righties.
Justin, you were pretty young when Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were doing the the home run chase back in '98. What do you remember about him, or what do you know about him, and kind of what are you expecting at Cubs convention? We kind of touched on this before we came on the air, but it's going to be kind of wild.
What I see is if they call him out on the stage, he has to do the Sammy hop across the stage. I don't know who
Absolutely.
I don't know who his publicity team is, but that needs to get in his ear. The crowd would love it. The crowd would love that. It's going to be exciting. We were talking before the show. It's kind of hard not to imagine the buzz around Chicago with Sammy finally coming back to a Cubs con, and you made the comparison to 2016 after they won the World Series. So I imagine this will be the biggest turnout they have since then, probably.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because we were looking it up. I think like you might have turned 3 during that summer.
Yeah. I was born in '95, so I was probably 3. My dad was probably losing his mind. He probably loved it. I felt like my dad was watching wrestling and like he was watching like WWE. WWE used to be the thing when I was a kid. So
He
was watching WWE, Michael Jordan and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire chase the home run record.
No doubt.
What a great time for sports that was.
Yeah, Chicago was peaking right around then.
It's just crazy. Like, I mean, you've been in the organization since 2014. We both covered the team for longer than that, and he just, for whatever reason, hasn't been around. Like, you've obviously never met him before, right? Like, what'll it be like to interact with him, kind of finally, or just to see the reactions that maybe you've seen on YouTube from a long time ago?
So I don't know if you know this. My favorite number and my family number is like 21. So high school, I was number 21. My brother was 21. He played college baseball. My dad played football at Alabama. He was 21. My grandfather played basketball. Southern Miss. He was 21. And then my great-grandfather, who served in the Korean War, he was a left-handed pitcher and played professional baseball in Korea, and he was number 21. So, like, 21 is a huge number in my family. And when I got to Chicago and got called up, they were like, what number do you want? I was like, does anybody have 21? They were like, no, nobody has 21, but, like, no one also, like, people kind of stay away from it. And I sat there for a second. I was like, oh, like, it probably should be retired. Like, so it kind of clicked for me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll stay away from that number." And I was like, "Give me 35." Hey, 35 is worth though. 35 is worth.
Yeah, it looks good on you. All right, Justin. At the end of the season, there was a lot of talk. Council said it. I think Tyone, maybe you even talked about it a little bit. But this team has to set a higher standard as far as win totals, right? You want to be in the playoffs. I remember you saying that in 23, how it's kind of annoying to watch the playoffs and not be in it. Do you think this team is inching closer to that goal? Is it improved enough to kind of say we can win 90 plus games? And kind of what do you expect for the rest of the offseason? What more do you want to see?
I mean, I absolutely think you make an addition like Kyle Tucker, you add to the rotation, you make some, more smaller additions. You can't help but make the team better, and I think that's what they're doing. You make a big splash, big addition like Kyle Tucker. Like, I mean, that just boosts the lineup so tremendously, like right off the bat. Like, it's hard to imagine exactly like the War, how much it increases the win total, or by adding one player. I really don't know how all that works. It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But just in my mind, you add someone like Kyle Tucker to the middle of the lineup with everything else that we already have. It's hard to imagine that we're not scoring more runs. And where the rotation was last year, we were in a great spot, top of the league most of the year. I'm going to remain healthy. J-Mo's going to keep doing what he's doing. The guys that we have, Shota's going to have another great year. It's hard to imagine that we're not going to, be able to, compete for the playoffs. Like, it's really hard for me to imagine this team not going there.
Hey, well, Justin, thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing you this weekend. Pack warmly. And I like the idea of the Sammy Hop. I think we'll try and pass that one along.
I'll try to get it to him. I'll try myself. I know that people want to see it. I'll work on it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, Justin. We'll see you this weekend. Take it easy. Everyone, thanks for listening. This is Northside Territory. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to The Athletic, where Patrick and I are on top of all things Cubs. Truly appreciate all of you listening.